So it's time for number 40 in my series of video game movie reviews, with an adaptation of a long-running series that, with the exception of just a few notable cases, has absolutely no story whatsoever. Sounds like a winner to me! Need for Speed is brought to us by director Scott Walk and stars Adrian Paul, Imogen Poots, Dominic Cooper, Kid Cudi, Michael Keaton, Dakota Johnson, Rami Malek, and more. Holy fuck, that's a lot of famous people in this movie. We follow Toby, played by Aaron Paul, a guy who owns a small mechanic shop in upstate New York by day and street races his muscle car for money by night. When Toby is framed for being responsible for the death of one of his friends by his rival, he goes to prison for 2 years. And when he gets out, it is his one singular goal to get revenge on his rival. And the best way to do so, apparently, is to get noticed by Michael Keaton's Monarch, a famous radio personality slash podcaster who puts on this big race called the De Leon. Now, the De Leon's not just like a race around a track. No, it's a high-stakes illegal street race that takes place once a year. And since his rival, who framed him for his friend's death, is the champion of the De Leon, he decides that he's gonna get into this race so that he can take him out there. Or something like that. It never really specifies what his plan is once he gets there beyond just winning. I mean, is he gonna kill him? Is he just gonna beat him and go, haha, I beat you at a race? I mean, that doesn't really sound like much of a revenge for the person who killed your friend and then blamed you for it and you went to prison for it. But hey, who am I to judge? Now, in order to be invited to this race, you of course have to be a great driver, which Toby is, but you also have to have a great car to complement those driving skills. So, through a course of very unlikely events, Toby acquires the last Mustang that Carroll Shelby and Ford were working on before Shelby's death. And this car is like fucking Jesus on wheels, apparently. There is absolutely nothing it can't do. So equipped with his badass stallion, he goes cross-country to meet his fate. However, it won't be quite that easy because along the way, he's had a price put out on his head. So he's got to fight for survival to get all the way across the country and win the De Leon. And that is just part of the story, because this movie has a whole lot of fucking plot. Like a lot more plot than we're used to in video game movies. Which what makes it even more surprising is that this is based on a series of racing games that while some of them have had very loose stories, for the most part, they're just driving games. They really haven't had stories. They're not story-based games. So you can probably understand that when I went into this movie, I didn't really have high hopes for the story here. And I remember when I saw this when it came out in 2014, I really wasn't blown away by it. Which surprised me even more this time when I watched it, because I actually really liked this movie this time around. Funny how that's happened a couple of times in this series. Need for Speed is not the most original movie. In tone, I would say it is very reminiscent of the Fast and Furious films. Oh my god, I just called the Fast and Furious movies films. Oh well. It's a fun, entertaining ride that doesn't put a whole lot of stock in believability or realism. It's more interested in staying somewhat grounded in reality and entertaining you. And I can say that it did just that. It entertained me. There were parts of the film that I just kind of thought that's fucking stupid, but for the most part, this movie was a pretty good ride. This is the second video game movie venture by Disney. The first being the Prince of Persia movie, and much like that movie, this movie definitely had a considerable budget over many other video game movies. This movie looks real fucking good, and as I said a few minutes ago, has a shit ton of fucking famous people in it. Story-wise, it actually has more than I was expecting, and while it is a bit ridiculous at times, it was entertaining and engaging enough to keep me hooked until the end. It's not necessarily believable, some of it's like really fucking over the top, but it is grounded enough and a pretty good time overall. Now, I do feel like there may be some that are a bit divided on some of the details of this story, that being people that are really into cars and people that just aren't really into cars and think they're pretty cool looking. For those of you that aren't really into cars, you'll probably just have a good time with the stuff that they do in this movie. For the people that are into cars, they're gonna look at some of the stuff and say, yes, that's really fucking cool, I'm glad they included that, and then they're gonna look at some other things and say, that's fucking bullshit, that's insane, and just took me out of it. However, I do think that there is more pluses for car lovers in this movie than minuses, so it kind of all balances out. Though there are times in the movie when there's some car jargon going on that just really is nothing. They're not saying anything at all. Not to say what they're saying doesn't make sense, but the things that they're saying seem like they're out of like a fucking pamphlet for the car, not something like true gearheads would be talking about. It may sound sound good to people that don't know much about cars, but if you know about cars and you hear somebody say that, you're like, yes, so the fuck what? What did you just say? You didn't really fucking say anything there. I mean, it's a small thing, but when you're into cars and you see car movies and they do these things, it kind of stands out to you. But no way did it ruin the movie or anything. I still enjoyed this movie overall. I mean, it included the Koenigseggs and a couple of other cool cars that you usually don't see in movies, so it gets some points right there. Performance-wise, this movie's not too bad either. Everybody here does a pretty good job. Have you seen the Fast and the Furious series? That's what you can expect. That's what you're getting here for the most part. A little bit less talk about family, but overall, that type of acting, that's what you're getting. It's good enough. I mean, it's fine for this kind of movie. It's actually a bit better than I was expecting overall, really. Everybody gives solid performances. Nobody's any better or worse than anybody else. Everybody's just pretty much right on par. Now, it's great and all that these performances are solid and even better than I was expecting, but that is not really what you're here for. You're here for cars, cars going fast, cars looking cool, and big fucking stunts. And that this movie definitely does good on. Most, if not all, of the effects in this movie are practical. That was actually something the director was really adamant about. He wanted all the car stunts to be practical, and they look fantastic. You've got high-speed, over-the-top wrecks that just destroy cars in this movie, and it is a fucking amazing time. Some really tense, fast chases that are filmed great. The sense of speed that we get here is done very well. It's not like where they undercrank the camera and then sped it up in post. No, these cars look like they're really going fast. You really feel the speed when they're flying down the road at 200 miles an hour. There's some really great chases and races in this film. If you like car chases, you're probably gonna like the vast majority of this movie. And the cars that they got to put in this movie, they are just beautiful, including the main car of the show, the Shelby GT500 Mustang Cobra that Toby acquired. This car is fucking awesome, and while in the movie it is supposed to be one of a kind, that car does actually exist. Whether it's that one exactly, I don't know, but the GT500 Mustang Cobra is a thing, and it is a badass motherfucking car in real life. However, it's not this car. This car in this movie is Jesus on wheels. I do think that they took that part just a bit far. This car does some truly amazing feats. I'm not gonna ruin it for you because it is all still a really good time, but there are things that this car does in this movie that no fucking car could ever do. There's some jumps that it makes that if you did with a car when it landed, all the tires would explode and parts from the car would just shoot out all over the fucking place and the motherfucker would not be moving anymore once it came to a stop. But once again, this is a fantasy movie more or less in the vein of the Fast and Furious movies, so you do have to suspend disbelief to have a good time here. And for the most part, that's fine. I'm watching this movie called Need for Speed based on a video game that's in the vein of Fast and the Furious. I'm not taking it too serious. I'm having a good time with it. And the stunts are all great and look fantastic. However, there is one that did pull me out, and I don't think that I'm the only one just because I'm into cars and I know stuff about cars. I think regular people, this particular stunt would pull you out just a bit. It doesn't ruin the experience or anything, but this particular stunt and the way that they do it, the thing that they do, is a little bit too much. Without ruining anything, I mean, it is in the trailer and all, but still, without ruining anything, there's a part where a car gets picked up more or less by a helicopter. Now the way they do this is they take a chain and they bring it in from each window and they hook it in the middle. So the helicopter picks the car up while it's moving at high speeds, by the way, by this chain that's holding on to the roof of the car and then carries the car quite a distance, just dangling there quite a distance in the air. Now maybe it's just me because this did kind of pull me out of it because I feel like that shit would have ripped the fucking roof off of that car. Either that or it would have at least like crumpled in the sides or something, but no, when they drop this fucker off, it ain't got a fucking scratch on it. You have a 3,500 pound car at least being held up by 3 square inches of sheet metal and a chain, swaying around in the fucking wind. I know I'm supposed to be suspending disbelief and I am nitpicking here, but I couldn't help it. This part bothered me when I saw it in 2014 and it really bothered me this time too. Now granted, it lasts just a couple of seconds and then it's over and it's not really that big a deal, but it did stick out to me. I can't help it. I'm reviewing the movie. It bothered me, so I gotta talk about it. It would have ripped that fucking roof off though, or definitely would have been some damage or something. There's no fucking way that would have worked that way. Unless the car had a roll cage, but you never saw that. But I mean, I guess that's a possibility maybe. Still would have damaged the sides or something. Okay, I'll stop. Moving on. Overall, the movie looks great and has some really good car stunts and races. These races are shot fantastically and have a great sense of speed. speed and excitement. Guys, Need for Speed was a really good time. For whatever reason, back in the day, I didn't care for this movie, but upon revisiting it now, I really enjoyed it. Is it the deepest? Fuck no. But it does what it sets out to do, which is to have some really exciting, cool races and have some awesome practical car stunts. The story is surprisingly more entertaining than I expected. It's really exciting and entertaining, and overall just a really good time. And Need for Speed is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed myself with this film this time around, especially with having not really liked it much the first time around. I don't know why that is, because this movie was a really good time. So if you're looking for like a Fast and the Furious-esque type of good time ride for the night, then check out Need for Speed, and I think you'll have a really good time. So there it is, guys, my review of Need for Speed. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Buffalo. Something else I really liked about this movie that I did not mention in the main review is the way that the characters looked while they're driving the cars. Now this is just a little nitpick, and it's not the car lover in me, this is the film lover in me. Whenever you see movies where people run like car chases and stuff, they always look so hardcore and stoic, like nothing phases them while they're going through these insane car chases. I mean, they'll be driving through like bullet hails and like fucking explosions and cars hitting them and doing crazy jumps and all kinds of stuff, and they'll just be like, yeah, it ain't no thing. Boom, boom, bitch. Big motherfucking explosion. I don't care, one-handed, look at that. Yeah, I ain't even got both hands on the wheel now. I don't give a fuck. What? You got big ass holes in the road, bazookas, motherfuckers with tanks, and I gotta look cool for the camera, baby. But not here. I did really appreciate how when crazy shit's going on and they're going like 230 miles down the fucking road, these motherfuckers look like somebody who would be behind the wheel of a car that is going 230 fucking miles down the road, and there's crazy shit going on all around them. Especially Aaron Paul. He was the greatest at it. There ain't none of that stoic, hardcore, badass driving. No, they look fucking unhinged like a person would look. I know because I've done these kind of things. I mean, not anything that crazy, but I've done some crazy shit behind the wheel, and I know, I've seen myself in the mirror how the fuck you look at times. There ain't none of this shit right here. Fuck no. You looking like, oh shit. Oh god. Oh my god, it's a fucking submarine. Dude, what? Oh my god. My fucking 50 feet in the fucking air! And I really appreciate that more realistic take to this aspect of driving high speeds in movies. I mean, it's not the most flattering looking because they all look pretty fucking goofy while doing it. Dominic Cooper also does a really good job of it in the movie. But, you know, flattering or not, it's real and I really appreciated it. And if you pay attention to it, it's a really good fucking time. You'll get some great laughs out of it. And now that I've said something and pointed it out, you'll never not see that in a movie ever again. You're welcome.